Hi, my name is Casper René Johansen and I'm your YouTube philosopher. In this video I would like to talk about a book, Eco-fearism, Prospects and Burning Issues. I actually did a review for this book. I was asked to do a review for this book before the book even was out. And what do you know now? The review is inside the book. So I would like to read you out loud this review that I did of this book, Eco-fearism, which is a highly recommendable book and a highly relevant book. There's other things to be scared about out there than the coronavirus. There's also climate change, which is still a thing. But let me read you this review that I wrote for this book that's in the book. This is a perfect companion to a book like Philosophy of Fearism. Remember, I did a book review on Philosophy of Fearism by Desh Super, and Desh Super, he's also one of the authors of this book. He's one of the three authors of this book, Desh Super, who wrote Philosophy of Fearism. But let me get back to this review and read it out loud. The current eco-crisis is one of the biggest fears of this modern era. The fear for a climate disaster and the collapse of our environmental ecosystem, etc., is a fear that is evermost in many of our minds today. This book generates the right amount of fear and then a positive fear relief through its proposed solutions to our eco-crisis. The book does what it's supposed to do, using fear as a positive motivator. I think Greta Thunberg would regard this book as a great tool in the struggle against climate change deniers. The Super Bhawani Shankar Adhikari and Ushinkashi Akuma Kalu also emphasizes an understanding of the relationship between nature and humans as more symbiotic, and that man is also affected by ecological changes. We must return to an earlier understanding of nature as something we are relational a part of. All in all, a book that must be read now sooner than later, since action in our climate struggle is needed now. But here is the review, and it says here that his philosophical channel, The Danish Philosopher, is the most viewed philosophical channel on YouTube in Denmark and one of the biggest in Scandinavia. So I'm actually one of the biggest philosophical channel on YouTube in Scandinavia. So that's pretty cool. Alright, a kind of a short overlook on this book. Well, the first part is kind of about this philosophy of fearism, how to understand fear and the ontological foundation for fear and the background for fearism and reality and so forth. And then it moves toward this eco-fearism, as they call it, and try to explain why eco-fearism is essential. And they go into ecosystem and the whole Stone Age, Iron Age, Industrial Age, and so on. And they come into also to misleading arguments about climate change, but also the evidence for a rapid climate change. And then they end up in the last part in this eco-fearism, how to save the ecosystem by using fear as a positive motivator and become more one with nature and going back to our kind of spiritual roots, how to believe through this eco-fearism. As I did in my book review on Philosophy of Fearism, there's also a resume of what this philosophy of fearism is in this book. how that everything is comes from fear, that everything is fear. But we can use this fear when we accept it and understand it. We can also use fear as a positive motivator. Now, a lot of things generate fear, like the coronavirus, afraid of a nuclear holocaust or something, but also climate change, which is still a very big deal and a big problem. We can have great fears about that. But we can use this fear as a positive motivator instead of just that it's just fear and we do nothing about it, and we say, we have so much fear that we don't do anything about it. But we actually turn this fear into, it's good we have some fear, instead of not having. If we didn't have any fear of climate change, we wouldn't care, we wouldn't be doing nothing about it. And that's the whole thing about when you use fear to deny fear and become maybe a climate change denier. You deny fear and you don't use that fear positively. You use it negatively to say there's nothing really to be afraid of, because there's no problem in the first place to begin with. There's no climate change, there's no danger really in it. So you kind of don't use this fear as a positive thing. Well, in this thing, prospect and burning issues, they accept that there's really something to be really fearful about, but we can do something about it. We can use our fear positively. So that's what this book is about. But it's also about coming back to nature, to live in more harmony with nature, to live in a more relational way with nature, to come back to our kind of spiritual roots about being one with nature, to come back to this. Also to relieve our fear of these climate change and to save the environment, we have to go back. So that's also the idea in this highly recommendable book. But anyways, this is what I have to say about eco-fearism, prospect and burning issues. It's out on Amazon. There's a link down here in this description. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye.